The rain was relentless, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. Lionel, a 43-year-old architect in Minneapolis, stared out the window of our lake house, a place that once held only happy memories. Now, it felt like a mausoleum of broken promises. My wife, Genevieve, a vibrant and successful marketing executive, was supposed to be here with me. We had planned this weekend getaway for months, a chance to reconnect after what felt like a year of drifting apart. Instead, I was alone, clutching a phone filled with damning evidence. It had started subtly. Genevieve had always been driven, but lately her ambition seemed to consume her. Late nights at the office became the norm. Business trips, once rare, were now frequent. I brushed it off, telling myself it was just a phase, a consequence of her rising career. I perhaps foolishly trusted her implicitly. Then came the little things: a new perfume I hadn't bought her, a lingering scent of cologne on her clothes that wasn't mine, a change in her demeanor. She was distant, preoccupied, and often irritable. When I tried to talk to her, she dismissed my concerns, accusing me of being paranoid and insecure. I started to feel like I was losing her, but I couldn't put my finger on why. The breaking point came 2 weeks ago. Genevieve had left her laptop open on the kitchen counter. I'm not proud of what I did, but curiosity and a growing sense of dread got the better of me. I glanced at the screen and saw an email notification from someone named Thaddeus. The subject line was innocuous enough: project update, but the preview text sent a jolt of ice through my veins. Can't wait to see you again on Friday. Missing your touch. My hands trembled as I clicked on the email. It was a long, passionate message filled with intimate details that were clearly not work-related. Thaddeus, as it turned out, was a consultant she had been working closely with on a new marketing campaign. The email spanned several months, detailing a torrid affair that had been unfolding right under my nose. The world spun. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. The woman I loved, the woman I had built a life with, had betrayed me in the most profound way imaginable. I spent the rest of the night in a daze, rereading the emails, trying to make sense of it all. How could she do this to me, to us? I confronted Genevieve the next morning. She initially denied everything, feigning outrage and accusing me of invading her privacy. But when I presented her with the printed emails, her facade crumbled. She broke down, sobbing and begging for forgiveness. She claimed it was a mistake, a moment of weakness, that it meant nothing. She swore she loved me and wanted to make things right. I wanted to believe her. Part of me desperately clung to the hope that we could salvage our marriage. But the trust was gone, shattered into a million pieces. The image of her with another man haunted me, replaying in my mind like a broken record. Against the advice of my friends and family, I decided to give her a second chance. I told her we needed to go to counseling, that she needed to cut all ties with Thaddeus, and that she needed to be completely transparent with me moving forward. She agreed to everything, promising to do whatever it took to win back my trust. For a while, things seemed to improve. Genevieve was more attentive, more affectionate. She went to therapy, and we even started going on dates again. I started to let my guard down, allowing myself to believe that maybe, just maybe, we could make it work. But the nagging feeling of doubt never completely disappeared. I couldn't shake the image of her in Thaddeus's arms, the lies she had told me, the betrayal that had cut so deep. I found myself constantly checking her phone, her email, looking for any sign that she was still seeing him. I knew it was unhealthy, but I couldn't help myself. Then last week, I found something that confirmed my worst fears. Genevieve had told me she was going on a business trip to Chicago, but when I checked her credit card statement, I saw a charge for a hotel room in Miami. A hotel room that Thaddeus had also stayed in, according to his social media posts. The rage that coursed through me was unlike anything I had ever experienced. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of betrayal. She hadn't just cheated on me once. She had continued the affair, lying to my face and manipulating me into believing that she had changed. That's when I decided to come to the lake house alone. I needed time to think, to process everything that had happened. I needed to decide what to do next. As I stood there, watching the rain lash against the windows, I knew I couldn't stay in this marriage any longer. The trust was irrevocably broken. The love I once felt for Genevieve had been replaced by a deep sense of resentment and anger. I started making plans. I contacted a lawyer and began gathering evidence for a divorce. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was determined to protect myself and my future. I wouldn't let Genevieve's betrayal define me. But as I delved deeper into our finances, I discovered something even more shocking than the affair. Genevieve had been secretly draining our joint bank account for months, funneling money into an offshore account. She had been planning this for a long time, preparing for a life without me. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. She hadn't just been unfaithful, she had been systematically robbing me blind. The affair was just the tip of the iceberg. She was a master manipulator, a con artist who had been playing me for a fool. I felt a surge of anger so intense that it momentarily blinded me. I wanted to confront her, to scream at her, to demand an explanation. But I knew that wouldn't accomplish anything. She would just lie and manipulate her way out of it as she always had. Instead, I decided to play her game. I contacted a private investigator, a man named Crispin, who specialized in financial fraud. I told him everything, showing him the evidence I had gathered. He listened intently, his expression grim. "She's good," Crispin said, "but she's not as good as she thinks she is. We'll find the money, and we'll make sure she pays for what she's done." Over the next few weeks, Crispin and I worked tirelessly to uncover the full extent of Genevieve's deception. We traced the money to a series of shell corporations and offshore accounts. We discovered that she had been working with Thaddeus to embezzle funds from her company as well. The evidence was overwhelming. We presented it to the authorities, who launched a full-scale investigation. Genevieve and Thaddeus were both arrested and charged with multiple counts of fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. The news of their arrest sent shockwaves through our community. Genevieve's reputation was ruined, her career in tatters. She faced the prospect of spending years in prison. I watched it all unfold with a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. Part of me felt vindicated, knowing that she was finally being held accountable for her actions. But another part of me mourned the loss of the woman I had once loved, the woman who no longer existed. The divorce was swift and brutal. Genevieve fought me every step of the way, but the evidence against her was too strong. I was awarded full custody of our assets, including the lake house, which I promptly sold. I wanted to erase every trace of her from my life. Thaddeus, facing similar charges, turned on Genevieve, offering to testify against her in exchange for a reduced sentence. Their once passionate affair ended in a bitter betrayal, mirroring the one they had inflicted on me. In the end, Genevieve was convicted on all charges and sentenced to a lengthy prison term. Thaddeus received a lighter sentence for his cooperation. I moved on with my life, relocating to Seattle and starting a new chapter. I focused on my career, my friends, and my own well-being. I learned to trust again cautiously and eventually found love with someone new, a kind and compassionate woman named Alara who valued honesty and integrity above all else. Looking back, I realized that Genevieve's betrayal, while devastating, ultimately made me stronger. It taught me the importance of self-respect, the value of loyalty, and the resilience of the human spirit. I emerged from the wreckage a wiser and more compassionate man, ready to embrace a future filled with genuine love and trust. The rain had stopped, and the sun was finally beginning to peek through the clouds.